To begin scheduling activities, we need to specify the assets that will receive maintenance through these activities. In our example, we'll start by specifying the activities that will be done in the rooms. We can select several assets that have the same activity, go to the Actions section, and create an activity for them. When creating an activity, we can see that we need to fill in the same information as in the templates. So to simplify this process, we can select a template. Let's select, for example, the monthly room maintenance template. Note that all the information from the template has been loaded into the activity. However, we can still enrich the activity with more information. For instance, let's add inventory parts from our Cancun warehouse. In this case, we'll add a liter of white paint directly and save it. We can make subsequent modifications to avoid having more templates than necessary and to adapt them to all types of equipment. While generating the activity, we'll see additional fields. One of these fields is the initial stage. We'll delve into the stages later in the work order configuration. Next is the Schedule Activity section, where we'll specify the date the activity will be scheduled. We can select the same value for all assets or set individual values. In this case, we have two different floors. Let's set all activities for Floor 1 to be first performed on the 8th of the current month, and for Floor 2, we'll select the 8th of the following month. This date depends on the last maintenance date. When scheduling activities, we can indicate if an activity can be performed throughout the day or if it requires a specific schedule. Often we have equipment that needs to be operational, for example, from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. So for our example, we can specify that the activity must be done starting at 8 a.m. and save it again. We can also indicate if these activities will be cyclic, meaning they'll be automatically rescheduled every time they're closed indefinitely, or we can set a deadline date, meaning they won't be rescheduled after that date. This is useful, for example, for short-term activities. In our example, we'll mark our activities as without an end date. Once we've filled in all the information, we'll save the activity. The previous example was about a date-controlled activity, but we can have activities with both date and meter readings. Let's now use the example of a vehicle. Let's select the asset van, go to the Actions button, and select Create Activity. When generating the activity or selecting a template for activities controlled by both date and meter readings, we need to indicate the current meter reading for that activity. In this case, the activity scheduling section will be divided into two: scheduled date and current reading. In the scheduled date section, let's indicate, for example, that this activity will be time-based until July 23rd. Then, in the readings section, we can indicate that this activity, for example, has never been performed. The current reading is 5,200, and it will show that the next activity will be at 10,000 kilometers. For instance, if the last activity was done at 100 kilometers, the system will calculate when the next activity will be based on this reading, which in this case would be at 10,100, as it's counting this reading plus the 10,000 programmed. Here, let's again indicate that there's no previous activity and that it currently has 5,200 kilometers. Other than that, everything else we've seen in activities controlled by date or by both date and meter readings remains the same. We can add measurements, attachments, and costs. Here again, let's remember that we can add additional costs. These additional costs could be, for example, an air filter that will be changed in our vehicle. Once we confirm this activity, we'll click Save again. These activities we're generating can be done, as we did just now from the Assets section, by selecting and going to the Actions part to generate the activity, or we can also do it from the Activities module. Here in the Activities module, we can add or select Create Activity, and the difference is that we'll have to select the asset beforehand. To do this, we simply select our organization, select the assets we want to assign a task to from the list, and everything else works exactly the same. So, this is another way for me to easily create activities for my assets. When I create these activities, I can now see them in this table. In the Scheduled Activities table, I'll be able to see everything I need to do. These are not work orders yet. This is a preview, showing what tasks my assets have planned for the selected time period. Here I have these rooms since we scheduled their activities for the 8th of this month. If I want to filter, I can quickly select. For example, let's say I want to see everything I have to do in the opening shift. So I can select a time frame, and we'll see that maintenance for our Floor 2 room is displayed. Also, I can select to view all activities. In this case, it will show me indefinitely what I have to do or what is pending from all my assets. In this Activities section, we'll see that I can access all the information. From the location type, I can pre-assign users to my activities, manage my scheduled ones, recurrent ones, and also see how they're controlled. Remember that all these tables allow me to search and also to organize my views to have the information I need at that moment. This is a way for me to check the activities I have to perform